A cold Mafia boss promised his dying mother he'd go on one last blind date. He walked into that restaurant ready to leave in 5 minutes. But the woman sitting at his table was the ex-wife he'd pushed away 3 years ago to keep her safe. Dominic Volkov didn't believe in promises anymore. But he'd made one to his mother 3 days before she died, and even a man soaked in blood and bullets had limits to what he could betray. "One date," she'd whispered, her frail hand gripping his with surprising strength. "Just one. Let someone see the boy I raised, not the monster you became." He'd agreed. He always agreed when it came to her. Now, standing outside Maria Vista, an upscale seaside restaurant where the sunset painted the ocean in shades of gold and crimson, Dominic checked his watch. 7 o'clock sharp. His mother's friend had arranged everything. Some lovely young woman who was perfect for him. He almost laughed. Perfect for a mafia boss with 17 kills under his belt and an empire built on fear.
Right.
Dominic adjusted his black suit jacket and walked through the glass doors. The hostess recognized him immediately, everyone did. Fear flickered across her face before she masked it with a professional smile. "Mr. Volkov, your table is ready. Your guest has already arrived." "Already here?" That was bold. Or stupid. He followed her through the restaurant, past tables of wealthy couples who suddenly found their wine very interesting. The ocean stretched beyond floor-to-ceiling windows, waves crashing against rocks below. His table sat in a private corner, partially hidden by white curtains that billowed in the sea breeze. The hostess pulled back the curtain. Dominic's heart stopped. Sitting at the table, her dark hair falling in waves over bare shoulders, wearing an emerald dress that matched her eyes, was the one woman he'd sworn he'd never see again. Ariana, his ex-wife. For 3 seconds, the world tilted. Then ice flooded his veins, the way it always did before violence. "What the hell is this?" His voice came out low, dangerous. Ariana looked up, and her face, God, that face he'd memorized in another lifetime, went pale. Her wine glass trembled in her hand. "Dominic," she breathed. She hadn't known either. That much was clear from the genuine shock in her eyes. The hostess backed away quickly, sensing the shift in air pressure that preceded storms. Dominic remained standing, every muscle coiled. "You have 5 seconds to explain why you're here before I walk out." Ariana set down her glass carefully. "Your mother's friend, Mrs. Chun. She set this up. I didn't know it was you. I swear." "My mother's friend?" The words tasted like ash. His mother had known and set this trap anyway, reaching from beyond the grave to meddle one last time. "Clever woman. Sit down," Ariana said quietly.
"Please."
"We're making a scene?" Dominic glanced around.
She was right.
Eyes watched from every direction, phones probably already recording. He couldn't afford public drama. Not with the Zanetti family breathing down his neck and the feds watching his every move. He sat, but his posture remained rigid, ready to bolt. "You shouldn't be here." "Neither should you," she countered, some of her old fire returning. "Since when do you go on blind dates?" "Since I made a dying woman a promise." The words came out harsher than intended. "What's your excuse?" Ariana's fingers twisted the napkin in her lap. "The same, actually. My grandmother.
She's sick."
She wanted to see me settled before she trailed off. Settled. The word hung between them like smoke. They'd been settled once. Married at 23, divorced at 25. 2 years of burning passion that had collapsed under the weight of his world. She'd wanted out. He'd let her go. Best decision of his life, he'd told himself. Worst decision of his life, whispered the part of him he'd buried. A waiter appeared, too nervous to make eye contact. "May I bring you drinks?" "Whiskey."
"Neat," Dominic said.
"I'm fine," Ariana added. The waiter vanished. Silence stretched between them, loaded with 3 years of unspoken words. Ariana spoke first. "How have you been?" Alive, he studied her face, looking for changes. There were small ones, a faint scar above her left eyebrow, shadows under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide, a hardness that hadn't been there before. You? The same? You look different. So, do you? Her gaze traced his face. Harder. That's what staying alive in my business requires. She flinched at the word business, and he felt a dark satisfaction. She'd always hated what he did, who he'd become. It was why she'd left. The waiter returned with his whiskey. Dominic downed it in one swallow, relishing the burn. We don't have to do this, Ariana said softly. I can leave. Tell Mrs. Chun it didn't work out. No, the word surprised him as much as her. But his mother had wanted this. One date. He could give her that much. We're here. Might as well eat. Something flickered across Ariana's face. Relief? Nervousness? Before she nodded. They ordered. Pasta for her, steak for him. The same meals they'd always chosen. Some patterns ran too deep to break. So, Dominic said, forcing conversation. What have you been doing? Still teaching? She hesitated, and alarm bells rang in his head. Ariana had always been a terrible liar. I left teaching. I work in consulting now. Consulting, his eyes narrowed. What kind? Business.
Strategy.
Boring stuff, she waved her hand dismissively, but her gaze slid to the right. Away from him. She was lying. Before he could press, Ariana's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her face went white. Everything okay? He asked. Fine, but her hand shook as she silenced the phone. Her eyes darted to the entrance, then to the emergency exit near the bathrooms. She was checking escape routes. Dominic's instinct screamed. Something was very, very wrong. Ariana. The restaurant's front window exploded in a shower of glass. Gunfire erupted, bullets tearing through the dining room. Screams filled the air as people dove under tables. Dominic lunged across the table, grabbing Ariana and pulling her down as a bullet shattered their wine bottle. Glass rained over them. Stay down, he ordered, his body covering hers. This wasn't random. This was targeted. And somehow, impossibly, his ex-wife was right in the middle of it. 3 of Dominic's men materialized from the shadows. They'd been stationed nearby, always watching, and returned fire. The shooters retreated, tires squealing in the parking lot. Silence fell, broken only by sobbing and the crunch of glass underfoot. Dominic pulled Ariana up roughly, his hands gripping her arms. Are you hurt? No, She was shaking, her emerald dress torn at the shoulder. His eyes locked on hers, ice cold. Who were they? I don't know. Bullshit. He dragged her toward the back exit, his men forming a protective circle. That was a professional hit, and they opened fire the second after you got that text. So I'll ask again. Who the hell were they? Ariana's face crumpled with something that looked like genuine fear. I swear to God, Dominic, I don't know. I thought, she stopped. You thought what? Nothing. I thought nothing. They burst through the kitchen, past terrified staff, and into the alley where a black SUV waited. Engine running, doors open. Marcus, his head of security, grabbed Ariana and shoved her into the back seat. Dominic slid in beside her. The SUV roared away from Maria Vista. Dominic turned to her, his jaw tight. Start talking. Right now. Ariana pressed herself against the opposite door, her breath coming fast. I told you I don't know who they were. Then explain the text. The one that made you look for exits 30 seconds before bullets started flying. Her mouth opened.
Closed.
It was just someone asking if I was okay. Wrong answer. Dominic leaned closer, his voice dropping to the dangerous whisper that made men twice his size flinch. I've been in this game for 10 years. I know when someone's been tipped off. You knew something was coming. Tears welled in her eyes.
Real ones. Please, Dominic. Just let me go. Drop me at a corner. Forget you saw me. Not happening. He pulled out his phone, texting Marcus in the front seat. You're coming with me until I figure out what game you're playing. I'm not playing anything. Then why did you really come tonight? He watched her face carefully. And don't tell me it was your grandmother. You never let her control your life before. Ariana bit her lip, and he saw it,
the moment she decided to give him something. A small truth to hide a bigger lie.
Fine.
Mrs. Chun told me it was a wealthy businessman. Someone who could help me with a situation I'm in. She met his eyes. I'm in debt, Dominic. Bad debt. The kind that gets people hurt. I needed money, and she said this man was generous, that if dinner went well. His stomach turned. You came here to seduce someone for money. Don't judge me, she snapped, fire finally breaking through. Not everyone has a criminal empire to fund their lifestyle. Some of us have to survive however we can. The words hit harder than they should have. This was what he'd driven her to? His Ariana, who'd once taught kindergarten and believed in fairy tales, reduced to this. How much do you owe? She looked away. 200,000. Dominic whistled low. To who? Does it matter? If they're the ones who just shot up a restaurant to get to you? Yeah, it matters. They wouldn't. She stopped again, and Dominic wanted to shake her. Every sentence was half-truth, half-lie, and he couldn't tell which parts were which anymore. The SUV pulled into the underground garage of his penthouse building. Reinforced concrete, security cameras every 10 feet, guards at every access point. Where are we? Ariana asked, though she had to know. My place. You're staying here until I sort this out. You can't kidnap me. Watch me. He stepped out, then turned back. You can walk, or Marcus can carry you. Your choice. She glared at him with the fury he remembered from their worst fights. I hate you. That makes two of us, sweetheart. The endearment came out cruel. Now move. They rode the private elevator in hostile silence. Ariana's arms were crossed, her jaw set. Dominic studied her reflection in the polished steel doors. She'd changed, yes. But beneath the lies and fear, he could still see glimpses of the woman he'd married. The stubborn tilt of her chin. The way she bit the inside of her cheek when she was thinking. He'd loved her once, with the kind of intensity that burned cities. Now she was either in terrible danger or playing him for a fool. Maybe both. The elevator opened into his penthouse. Ariana stepped out, her eyes scanning the space. The floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, the minimalist furniture, the complete absence of anything personal. Home sweet home, he said darkly. Make yourself comfortable. You're going to be here a while. She turned to face him, and for just a second, her mask slipped. He saw raw terror in her eyes. Dominic, she whispered. You have to let me go. If they find me here with you, everything will.
Her phone rang.
They both stared at it. Answer it, Dominic ordered. On speaker. Ariana's hand trembled as she pulled out her phone. The screen showed a unknown number. She looked at Dominic, pleading silently. Speaker, he repeated, his tone leaving no room for argument. She swiped to answer, tapping the speaker icon. Hello. A distorted voice crackled through. You missed your window, Ariana. That's disappointing. Her face drained of color. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play stupid. We had a deal. You get close to Volkov, you plant the tracker, you walk away clean. Instead, you're in his car heading to his fortress. The voice turned cold. Did you warn him?
No.
I swear I didn't. Dominic snatched the phone from her hand. Who is this? Silence. Then a low chuckle. Ah, Volkov himself. This is convenient. Tell me, how does it feel knowing your ex-wife sold you out?
Who are
you? Each word was a bullet. Let's just say I represent people who are very interested in your retirement. Permanent retirement. Another laugh. Ariana was supposed to make that happen tonight. Plant a tracker. Lead you somewhere quiet. But she's always been soft. Too emotional. That's why she'll never survive in our world. Dominic's eyes locked on Ariana. She was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. She's a loose end now, the voice continued. And we don't leave loose ends. Neither do you, Volkov. So here's what's going to happen. You kill her, we'll call it even and postpone our plans. You let her live. We come for both of you. Your choice. The line went dead. The phone slipped from Dominic's hand, clattering on the marble floor. Ariana backed away, her hands raised. Please let me explain. You are going to kill me. His voice was barely human. You came to that restaurant to set me up for execution.
No.
Not kill, just. She pressed against the window. They told me it was just surveillance, that they needed to track your movements for business intelligence. I didn't know they wanted you dead, I swear. Who are they? The Serpiente Syndicate. Every muscle in Dominic's body went rigid. The Serpiente Syndicate, the Mexican cartel that had been trying to move into his territory for 2 years. Ruthless. Connected. Powerful enough to start a war that would paint the streets red. How long? He asked quietly. What? How long have you been working for them? Ariana's shoulders sagged. 6 months. They approached me after they found out about us. About our marriage. They said if I helped them, they'd pay off my debts and keep me safe. What debts, Ariana? The truth this time. She slid down the window until she was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees. My brother, Tommy. He got involved in gambling, fell in with the wrong people. They were going to kill him. The Serpiente offered to clear his debt in exchange for my help.
Tommy.
The kid brother she'd always protected. Dominic remembered him. Young, stupid, always in trouble. So you chose him over me. You left me, she screamed suddenly, her grief exploding. 3 years ago, you pushed me away, said I'd be safer without you, that your world was too dangerous. And you were right, because the moment they found out we were married, I became a target anyway. My safety was a lie, Dominic. You couldn't protect me then, and you can't now. Before he could respond, the lights went out. Emergency generators kicked in, bathing the penthouse in red. An alarm shrieked. The perimeter had been breached. Impossible, Dominic muttered, pulling his gun from his shoulder holster. This building is a fortress. Marcus's voice crackled over the intercom. Boss, we've got hostiles in the stairwells. At least 20 men, heavily armed. They're moving fast. 20 men. Inside his building. Past his security. Someone had given them access codes. Floor plans. Timing. We have a traitor, Dominic said aloud. Glass shattered. Not in the penthouse, but somewhere below. Gunfire echoed up through the building's bones. Ariana scrambled to her feet. What do we do? Dominic grabbed her wrist, dragging her toward his bedroom. We run. Run where? We're 40 floors up. He shoved open his closet, revealing a hidden panel. Behind it, a private elevator, his escape route, known only to him and Marcus. Get in. Ariana hesitated. If I go with you, they'll never stop hunting me. Tommy will. An explosion rocked the building. The windows cracked, spider-webbing outward. Your brother's already dead if the Serpiente think you betrayed them, Dominic said bluntly. Now you have 2 choices. Come with me and maybe live, or stay here and definitely die. She looked at him, this man she'd loved and left, and made her choice. She stepped into the elevator. Dominic followed, slamming his palm on the button. The doors closed just as his penthouse door exploded inward, gunmen flooding the space. The elevator plummeted downward, toward the subterranean parking level. The elevator dropped so fast Ariana's stomach lurched. She gripped the rail, her knuckles white, while Dominic checked his gun's magazine with practiced efficiency. How many bullets? She asked. Enough. The elevator jolted to a stop. Dominic positioned himself in front of her as the doors slid open, gun raised. The underground parking garage was eerily quiet. Emergency lights cast long shadows between concrete pillars. His backup car, a bulletproof Range Rover, sat 30 feet away. Stay behind me, he ordered. They moved quickly across the garage. Ariana's heels clicked too loudly on concrete, and she kicked them off, running barefoot. Her emerald dress was filthy now, torn and stained. Dominic's phone buzzed. He glanced at it while keeping his gun steady. Marcus. Ariana asked. Dead, his voice was flat. They got him in the lobby. She felt sick. Marcus had been loyal, good. I'm sorry. Save it. He reached the Range Rover, yanked open the passenger door. Get in. She climbed inside while he slid into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life. That's when the first shots came. 3 men emerged from behind a pillar, automatic weapons blazing. Bullets pinged off the armored vehicle as Dominic floored the accelerator. The Range Rover shot forward, tires squealing. "Hold on," he shouted. He crashed through the garage's security gate, wood and metal exploding around them. The vehicle burst onto the street, swerving into traffic. Horns blared. A taxi slammed its brakes, missing them by inches. Ariana twisted in her seat, looking back. 2 black SUVs were already in pursuit. "They're following us." "I know." Dominic's jaw was set, his hands steady on the wheel as he wove through cars at 80 miles per hour. "Check the glove box." She popped it open. Inside, another gun, ammunition, and a burner phone. "Can you shoot?" he asked. "You taught me, remember?" A ghost of something, memory, regret, crossed his face. "Then get ready to use it." He took a hard right, tires screaming, down a narrow alley. The SUVs followed, their bulk barely fitting between brick walls. Dominic's phone, his real one, rang. He answered on speaker, while driving one-handed. Volkov, it was a voice Ariana didn't recognize. Smooth, cultured, amused. "Who is this?" "Someone who's been waiting a long time to see you vulnerable. Tell me, how does it feel having your empire crumble in a single night?"
Vince?
Dominic's eyes widened. "That's impossible. You're in Chicago." Surprised, the man laughed. "Did you really think I'd stay your loyal dog forever? Playing second fiddle to the great Dominic Volkov while you got all the glory, all the power?" Ariana saw Dominic's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. "You're the traitor. I prefer ambitious. I gave the Serpiente everything, your security codes, your schedules, your safe houses. In return, they're giving me your territory, your legacy, everything you built. I'll kill you. You'll try. But first, you have to survive tonight. And with 20 of their best men hunting you, plus the tracker I had Ariana plant." "Oh wait, she didn't plan it, did she? Useless woman. That's why you divorced her." Dominic ended the call and hurled the phone out the window. It shattered on the pavement. "Your best friend," Ariana said quietly. "The one who was like a brother to you. Don't. He betrayed you worse than I did." "I said don't." He slammed his fist on the dashboard, and she flinched. They emerged from the alley onto a main boulevard. Dominic took another sharp turn, heading toward the industrial district, abandoned warehouses and empty lots. Somewhere he could think. One of the SUVs stayed with them. The other had fallen back, probably circling to cut them off. "We can't keep running," Ariana said. "They have resources, manpower." "I know what they have." He checked the rearview mirror. "I'm thinking." "Think faster." A bullet shattered the back window. Ariana screamed as glass exploded inward. "Return fire," Dominic shouted. She grabbed the gun, clicked off the safety like he'd taught her years ago, and twisted in her seat. Her hand shook, but she aimed through the broken window and pulled the trigger. The recoil jolted her shoulder. The shot went wide, but it made the SUV swerve. "Again," Dominic urged. She fired twice more. The second shot hit the SUV's windshield, spiderwebbing the glass. The vehicle dropped back slightly. Dominic yanked the wheel, turning into an industrial complex. Rusted warehouses loomed on either sides. He killed the headlights and navigated by moonlight, taking random turns until the pursuit fell away. Finally, he stopped behind a collapsed loading dock and cut the engine. Silence. Just their ragged breathing and the tick of cooling metal. "We're not safe here," Ariana whispered. "We're not safe anywhere." He turned to face her, and in the darkness, his eyes reflected cold fury. "My best friend wants me dead. My organization is compromised. And you," he grabbed her chin, forcing her to meet his gaze. "You brought this nightmare to my door. I didn't know." "You knew enough," he released her roughly. "Now we're trapped together. Just like old times." They sat in suffocating silence, the darkness pressing in around them. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed, police responding to the chaos they'd left behind. Ariana's hands still trembled from firing the gun. She set it carefully on the dashboard, afraid she might drop it. I need to call Tommy, she said finally. Warn him. No phones. They can track anything. Dominic stared through the windshield at the skeletal warehouses. Your brother's either already dead or in hiding. Either way, calling him just puts a target on his back. He's my brother. And he's the reason you're here. Dominic's voice cracked like a whip. The reason you came back into my life as a spy. The reason Marcus is dead and my empire is burning. The accusation hung between them, sharp as broken glass. Ariana felt tears threaten again, but forced them down. She'd cried enough. You want the whole truth? Fine. I'll give it to you. He turned to look at her, his face half-shadowed. 6 months ago, Tommy disappeared, she began, her voice hollow. 3 days later, 2 men showed up at my apartment. Serpiente. They showed me pictures of him, beaten, tied to a chair. Said he owed them $300,000 from underground poker games. 300. Dominic's eyebrow raised. You said 200 earlier. The debt was 300. They offered to knock it down to 200 if I helped them. She wrapped her arms around herself. They knew everything about me. My job, my friends, my past. And they knew about you. About our marriage. So, they saw an opportunity. They said all I had to do was reconnect with you. Use the history between us to get close. Plant a small tracking device. They said it was just to monitor your business movements, nothing violent. Do that, and Tommy walks free with his debt cleared. Dominic laughed bitterly. And you believe them? The Serpiente? What choice did I have? Her voice rose. They had my brother. They said if I refused, they'd send him back to me in pieces. So yes, I believed what I needed to believe because the alternative was watching Tommy die. You could have come to me. Come to you. She stared at him incredulously. The man who pushed me away 3 years ago saying I'd be safer without him? The man who chose his criminal empire over our marriage? That man. The words hit their mark. Dominic's jaw tightened. You made it clear I didn't belong in your world. Ariana continued, her voice breaking. So I built a new life. A safe life. And then your world came for me anyway, proving you were right all along. I'm not strong enough for this. I'm not built for violence and betrayal and… You shot at a moving car 15 minutes ago. She blinked. What? Your hands were shaking, but you took the shot anyway. That's not weakness, Ariana. That's survival. He shifted in his seat, facing her fully. You want to know why I really pushed you away? I know why. You said I'd get hurt. Because I loved you too much, the confession came out raw. I was falling deeper every day, and it terrified me. In my world, love is a weakness. A liability. Enemies target what you love. And you, his voice roughened. You were too good. Too bright. I knew if I kept you, eventually my life would destroy yours. So, I let you go before that could happen. Ariana's breath caught. In 3 years, she'd imagined many reasons for their divorce. But never this. You still should have told me, she whispered. Would you have listened? She thought about the woman she'd been at 25. Stubborn. Idealistic. Certain she could fix him. No, she admitted. I would have fought to stay. Exactly, he looked away. And now look at us. My noble sacrifice was pointless. You're in danger anyway, and he stopped. You're what? I'm compromised, the words tasted like poison. Vince knew everything. My routines, my safe houses, my contacts. He's been planning this for months, maybe years. He's systematically dismantled my organization from the inside, and I was too blind to see it. Why would he do this? You gave him everything, power, money, respect. Apparently, it wasn't enough. Dominic's laugh was hollow. Vince always lived in my shadow. My father chose me as successor, not him. Even though Vince was older. Maybe he's been resentful all along, and I just didn't want to see it. Ariana reached out instinctively, her hand covering his. Dominic. He pulled away. Don't. We're not doing this. Doing what? Acting like we're still something we're not. His voice turned cold again, defensive. We're stuck together temporarily. Nothing more. Once I deal with Vince and the Serpiente, you disappear. New identity, new life. Far away from me, the rejection stung, but beneath it, Ariana heard what he wasn't saying. I can't lose you again. Okay, she said softly. But we need a plan. We can't hide here forever. Dominic checked his watch. Nearly midnight. They'd been sitting in the cold Range Rover for an hour, neither willing to speak first after his harsh dismissal. Finally, the chill became unbearable. There's a warehouse 3 buildings down, he said. Used to be a front for one of my operations. Abandoned now, but there's a back office with supplies. We'll hole up there until dawn. They moved through the darkness like ghosts. Ariana's bare feet were silent on broken asphalt, though she winced at every sharp stone. Dominic noticed but said nothing. The warehouse door hung crooked on rusted hinges. Inside, moonlight filtered through broken skylights, illuminating rows of empty shelving and forgotten machinery. Everything was covered in dust. Dominic led her to a small office in the back corner. Inside, a desk, a filing cabinet, and an old couch that had seen better days. He opened the cabinet and pulled out an emergency kit, water bottles, protein bars, a first aid kit, and blankets. You kept supplies here? Ariana asked. I keep supplies everywhere, he tossed her a blanket. Never know when you'll need to disappear. She wrapped it around her shoulders gratefully. The adrenaline was fading, leaving exhaustion in its wake. Dominic pulled out his burner phone and made a call. It rang 4 times before someone answered.
Lay.
It's me. Boss. Holy shit, we thought you were dead. You're building. I know. Listen carefully. The Serpiente hit us, and we have a traitor.
Vince.
Silence. Then, Vince? No way. He's been with us since the beginning. I know. But it's him. He's working with the Serpiente to take over my territory, Dominic's voice hardened. I need you to secure the downtown safe house and pull together anyone you trust. And Leo? Be careful who you talk to. We don't know how deep this goes. Understood. What about you? I'll contact you in 12 hours. If you don't hear from me by then, assume I'm dead and get out of the city. He ended the call and sat heavily on the couch, suddenly looking older than his 31 years. Ariana sat beside him, maintaining careful distance. Will he be okay?
La.
If he's smart, Dominic rubbed his face. The Serpiente won't stop until they control everything. And Vince knows how I think, how I operate. He'll anticipate my moves. So, do something he wouldn't expect. Like what? She met his eyes. Fight back with the one thing he doesn't have. Which is? Me. She leaned forward. Vince thinks I'm a liability, remember? He said so on the phone. He doesn't know I can be useful. Let me help you. Absolutely not. Why not? I'm already in this. Because I've lost enough people tonight. The words exploded out of him. Marcus is dead. Probably a dozen of my men. And you. He stood abruptly, pacing. You shouldn't even be here. This isn't your fight. It became my fight the moment the Serpiente dragged me into it. Then walk away. I'll get you papers, money, a clean exit. To where, Dominic? Where exactly am I supposed to go? She stood too, the blanket falling from her shoulders. They have my brother. They know my face. And now that I've failed to deliver you, I'm a loose end. You said it yourself, they don't leave loose ends. He stopped pacing, his back to her. The only way forward is through, Ariana continued, her voice strengthening. We take down Vince and the Serpiente together. Or we die trying. Those are the only options left. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. She walked toward him. For 3 years, I tried to forget you. I told myself I was better off without the danger, without the violence. That I'd chosen safety. He turned to face her. But you know what I learned tonight? Her eyes glistened. Safety is an illusion.
Your world found me anyway.
So, if I'm going to be in danger, I'd rather face it fighting than running. They stood inches apart, the air between them electric. Ariana, he said, his voice dropping to a warning. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you used to. His control was cracking. Like I'm worth saving. Maybe you are. I'm not. I'm everything you ran from. She kissed him. It was desperate, reckless, fueled by fear and adrenaline and 3 years of unresolved longing. For a heartbeat, Dominic stood frozen. Then his control shattered completely. He pulled her against him, kissing her back with an intensity that bordered on violence. His hands tangled in her hair, hers clutched his jacket. They stumbled backward until her back hit the wall. This is a mistake, he breathed against her lips. Probably, she agreed, pulling him closer. We'll regret it. I don't care.
Neither did he.
Not anymore. Dawn broke through the skylights, painting the warehouse in shades of gray and gold. Ariana woke on the couch, wrapped in Dominic's arms. For one perfect moment, she forgot where they were, forgot the danger. She let herself simply exist in the warmth of his embrace. Then reality crashed back. She shifted, and Dominic's eyes opened immediately, the reflexes of a man who'd survived by sleeping light. Morning, she whispered. His expression was unreadable. We need to talk about last night, do we? She sat up, pulling the blanket around herself. Her emerald dress lay crumpled on the floor. That can't happen again, but his voice lacked conviction. Why not? Because he stood, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Because I meant what I said. Once this is over, you disappear. You get a new life, far from me. What if I don't want that? What you want doesn't matter. He grabbed his shirt from the chair. I won't be responsible for getting you killed. Before she could respond, the burner phone rang. Dominic answered.
Lie.
Boss, we've got a problem. Leo's voice crackled with tension. The Serpiente hit 3 more of our locations overnight. The gambling house on 5th, the shipping warehouse, and the nightclub. They're moving fast, claiming territory. Casualties? 17 dead. Another 20 scattered. Vince is offering them deals. Join him or die. Half our crew doesn't know who to trust anymore. Dominic's jaw clenched. Where's Vince now? That's the thing. Nobody's seen him since last night. He's ghost. He's planning something big. Dominic paced, his tactical mind working. What about the downtown safe house? Secure. I've got 8 men here, all loyal. But boss, we can't hold out long. The Serpiente have numbers we can't match. I need 12 hours.
Can you give me that?
A pause.
Yeah.
We'll hold. Dominic ended the call and immediately dialed another number. Who are you calling? Ariana asked, pulling on her dress. Someone who hates the Serpiente as much as I do. The phone rang twice before a woman answered. This better be good. Katrina, I need a favor. Volkov. The woman laughed sharply. I heard you were dead. Disappointed?
Mildly.
What do you want? Intel on the Serpiente's operations. Locations, shipments, leadership structure. Everything. That's not a favor. That's a shopping list. What's in it for me? The Serpiente are making a play for my territory. If they succeed, they'll come for yours next. Help me crush them now, or fight them alone later. Silence as Katrina considered. She ran the East Side operations, smaller than Dominic's empire, but fierce.
Smart. Fine.
But you owe me, Volkov.
Big, she paused.
I heard Vince flipped. That true? Yes.
Damn.
I always liked him better than you. Another laugh. I'll send what I have to this number in an hour. Don't make me regret this. The call ended. Ariana watched him, seeing the strategist beneath the chaos. You have a plan. The beginning of one. He found a water bottle, drank deeply. The Serpiente moved fast, but they're overextended. They're claiming territory they can't hold if we hit them hard enough. I still have loyal men. And Katrina's crew will help if it means protecting their interests. He looked at her. But we need something they don't expect. What? You? Her stomach tightened. I'm listening. The Serpiente think you're a failed asset. Useless. But you've been on the inside, you know their protocols, contacts, probably even safe house locations. I was low level. They didn't tell me everything. They told you enough. He moved closer. What do you remember about the man who recruited you? Names, faces, anything? She closed her eyes, thinking back. His name was Santos. Older, maybe 50. Scar on his left hand. He operated out of an auto shop on the south side, DeMarco's Custom Cars. DeMarco's, Dominic's eyes lit with recognition. That's one of their fronts. If Santos is there, he might have information on their next moves. You want to raid it? I want to send them a message. His smile was predatory. They came into my city and declared war. Time to show them what war actually looks like. Ariana felt a chill. This was the Dominic she'd feared during their marriage, the cold, calculated killer who made empires tremble. But she'd chosen this. Chosen him. What do you need me to do? Before he could answer, an explosion shook the warehouse. The windows shattered, raining glass. Dominic tackled Ariana to the floor as smoke poured through the skylights. They found us, he shouted. Automatic gunfire erupted outside. Through the broken windows, Ariana saw them. At least a dozen men in tactical gear, surrounding the warehouse. And leading them, clearly visible in the dawn light, was Vince. Back door. Dominic grabbed Ariana's hand, pulling her toward the rear of the warehouse. Bullets chewed through the corrugated metal walls, punching holes that let in streams of morning light. They ran in a crouch, weaving between old machinery. Dominic. Vince's voice boomed through a megaphone. There's nowhere to run. I know every exit, every hiding spot. I helped you build this place, remember? Dominic cursed under his breath. Vince was right. He'd been there when they'd set up this location 5 years ago. They reached the back door. Dominic kicked it open and immediately pulled back as gunfire tore through the space where his head had been. Rear exits covered, he said. Then what? Up, he pointed to a metal staircase leading to a catwalk near the ceiling. There's a maintenance hatch that leads to the roof. We can cross to the next building. They climbed fast, the stairs clanging under their feet. Below, armed men poured through the main entrance. I see them, someone shouted. Bullets pinged off the metal railings. Ariana felt one pass, so close to her head she felt the heat. Dominic returned fire with his pistol, forcing the men to take cover. They reached the catwalk. Dominic pointed to a hatch 20 feet away. Go! Ariana ran, her bare feet slipping on the grated metal. Behind her, Dominic fired methodically, each shot buying them seconds. She reached the hatch and pushed. It didn't budge. It stuck. Dominic reached her, holstering his gun and throwing his shoulder against the hatch. Once. Twice. On the third hit, it burst open, revealing gray sky. Climb. Ariana pulled herself through onto the roof. Dominic followed, slamming the hatch shut behind them. He dragged a rusted ventilation unit over it. That won't hold long, Ariana gasped. It doesn't have to. The roof was a maze of vents, pipes, and satellite dishes. Dominic led her to the edge. A 6-foot gap separated this building from the next. You're joking, Ariana said. I'm really not, he backed up. Run fast, jump far. Don't look down. Dominic. Trust me. He ran and leaped, clearing the gap easily and landing in a roll on the other side. He turned back, extending his arms. Your turn. Behind her, the hatch rattled. Men were forcing it open. Ariana backed up, her heart hammering. Heights had never been her friend, but bullets were worse. She ran. For a terrifying moment, she was airborne, the alley 40 feet below rushing past in her peripheral vision. Then Dominic's hands caught her wrists, yanking her forward. She collapsed against him on solid rooftop. Good girl, he breathed. The hatch behind them burst open. Vince climbed through, flanked by 2 gunmen. Enough running, Vince called across the gap. Let's talk like civilized people. Dominic pushed Ariana behind him. Civilized? You tried to kill me. Business decision, Vince shrugged. He looked different from the loyal friend Ariana remembered from years ago. Harder, colder. Nothing personal, Dom. You were always going to end up dead, or in prison. I just decided to profit from the inevitable. We were brothers. You were the golden child. I was the backup plan. Vince's face twisted with old resentment. Your father made that clear from day one. Dominic will lead the family, Vince will support him. Well, I'm done supporting. So, you sell me out to the Serpiente? Help them invade our city. Your city, Vince corrected. I'm making it mine. The Serpiente get the drug routes, I get everything else. Fair trade. Until they decide they want everything, Dominic shot back. You think you can trust them? They'll use you and discard you the moment it's convenient. Doubt flickered across Vince's face. Just for a second. They're not the ones who betrayed me, he said. You did. Every time you took credit, every time you made decisions without consulting me, every time you reminded me I was second best. I never. You didn't have to say it. Vince's voice cracked. It was in every look, every choice. You're Dominic Volkov, the legend. I'm just Vince, the sidekick. Ariana felt a pang of sympathy despite everything. She knew what it felt like to live in someone's shadow. It's not too late, Dominic said quietly. Call off the Serpiente. We'll rebuild together as equals. For a moment, Vince wavered. Then his phone rang. He answered it, his expression changing. Yes, I see them. Both of them, a pause. Understood. He lowered the phone, and when he looked at Dominic again, something had hardened in his eyes. The Serpiente just sent me a gift, Vince said. Proof of their commitment to our partnership. He held up his phone, showing them a photo. Ariana's blood turned to ice.
It was Tommy.
Her brother. Beaten, bloodied, but alive barely. A gun pressed to his temple. They're holding him at the old fish cannery on Pier 17, Vince continued. And here's the deal. You surrender yourself, Dominic, and they let the girl's brother live. You run, and he dies screaming. No, Ariana's voice was barely a whisper.
No, no, no.
Don't do this, Vince, Dominic said, his gun still trained across the gap. This isn't you. You don't know me anymore, Vince checked his watch. You have 2 hours to reach Pier 17. Alone. The girl stays with me as insurance. If you try anything clever, both of them die. Like how she's staying with you? Those are the terms.
Vince snapped.
2 hours, Dominic. Clock's ticking. He disappeared back through the hatch, his men following. The moment they were gone, Ariana collapsed to her knees.
Tommy.
Oh God, Tommy. Breathe. Dominic knelt beside her. We're going to get him back.
How?
You heard Vince. If you don't surrender. I'm not surrendering. And neither are you. He pulled her to her feet, his hands gripping her shoulders. Listen to me. This is a trap. They want us separated so we're easier to kill. The moment I show up at that pier, I'm dead. And the moment I'm gone, so are you and Tommy. Then what do we do? His eyes gleamed with dangerous calculation. We spring the trap. But on our terms. 20 minutes later, they were in a stolen delivery van, taken from behind a bodega 3 blocks away. Dominic drove while Ariana sat in the passenger seat, checking the weapons they'd grabbed from a hidden stash he kept in a nearby storage unit. DeMarco's custom cars first, Dominic said. If Santos is still running Serpiente operations from there, he'll have information we need. Guard positions at the pier, how many men, whether they're actually holding Tommy there or if it's bait. And if he won't talk. He'll talk. The cold certainty in Dominic's voice made her shiver. They pulled up 2 streets away from the auto shop. Through binoculars, Dominic scanned the building. 3 guards outside. Probably more inside. He handed her a pistol. Remember your training? Shoot center mass. Don't hesitate. Good, he loaded a fresh magazine into his own weapon. I'll go in front, create noise. You slip in the back, find Santos. He's the older guy, with a scarred hand. What do I do when I find him? Get him talking. Record everything on this. He handed her the burner phone. We need proof of Serpiente operations for Katrina. She won't fully commit without it. Ariana tucked the phone in her dress pocket. Her hands were steadier now, adrenaline replacing fear. They split up. Dominic walked straight to the front entrance. The guards recognized him immediately, their eyes widening. Volkov. He shot the first one in the leg, the second in the shoulder. Both dropped, screaming. The third fumbled for his radio, but Dominic was faster, pistol whipping him unconscious. Inside the shop, chaos erupted. Meanwhile, Ariana slipped through the back door, which opened into a parts room. Voices echoed from deeper inside, shouting in response to the gunfire out front. She moved through the shadows, heart pounding. In the main garage, she saw him. Santos stood near a workbench, barking orders into a phone. His scarred hand was unmistakable. More gunfire from the front. Dominic was keeping them busy. Ariana circled around, coming up behind Santos. She pressed her gun to his spine. "Hang up," she said quietly.
Santos froze.
Ariana,
Hang
up. He ended the call slowly. Walk. Back office.
now.
She marched him into a small room and locked the door. Started recording on the phone. "You made a mistake coming back," Santos said, his accent thick. "The Serpiente don't forgive traitors. Then we have something in common. You lied to me. You said tracking Dominic was just surveillance. But you wanted him dead. Business. Nothing personal. Where's my brother? Is he really at Pier 17? Santos smiled, showing gold teeth. "Maybe yes. Maybe no. You'll find out when." She pressed the gun harder against his temple. "Wrong answer." Okay. He raised his hands. "Yes, he's there. Pier 17, in the old foreman's office on the second floor. 6 guards, maybe 7-inch. And the trap for Dominic. 20 men hidden inside. Snipers on the rooftops across the street. He shows up, he's dead before he reaches the door."
Who ordered it? Vince?
"Vince is just a puppet," Santos laughed bitterly. "You think he's calling the shots? Please. The Serpiente's real boss is someone else. Someone who's been planning this takeover for 2 years.
Who?
I don't know names. I'm middle management. But whoever it is, they want Volkov's empire bad enough to start a war." The door exploded inward. Dominic stood there, breathing hard, blood on his jacket. "We've got company. At least a dozen more cars just pulled up." "Did you get what we need?" he asked Ariana. She held up the recording phone. "Tommy's at Pier 17. But it's a kill box. 20 men inside, snipers outside." "Then we don't walk in the front door," he grabbed Santos by the collar. "You're coming with us." "Like hell." Dominic hit him once, hard.
Santos crumpled.
"Grab his phone," Dominic told Ariana. "We're going to need it." They dragged Santos out through a garage bay just as bullets started flying through the windows. They made it back to the van with Santos unconscious in the back, zip-tied and gagged. Dominic drove fast, taking random turns to ensure they weren't followed. "Where are we going?"
Ariana asked.
"Somewhere we can think." He pulled into an abandoned parking garage, ascending to the top level where they'd have visibility in all directions. Once parked, Dominic hauled Santos out and propped him against a concrete pillar. A slap across the face brought him around. Santos's eyes focused, filled with rage. Dominic ripped off the gag. "You're a dead man, Volkov." "Probably. But you'll die first if you don't start talking." Dominic crouched in front of him. "Who's running the Serpiente operation? Who's the real boss?" "I told your girl, I don't know." Dominic pulled out his knife, pressing the blade against Santos's scarred hand. "I'll ask once more." Santos's bravado cracked. "I swear. The boss stays hidden. Uses intermediaries. I've never seen a face, never heard a real name. Everything comes through encrypted messages." "Show me." Ariana handed over Santos's phone. Dominic scrolled through the messages, his expression darkening. "These are orders," he muttered. "Attack schedules, target locations, payment confirmations." He stopped on one message, his face going pale. "This can't be right." "What?" Ariana leaned over his shoulder. The message read, "Phase 3 initiated. VR has outlived usefulness. Eliminate after Volkov is secured." VR.
Vince Russo.
"They're going to kill Vince," Ariana breathed. "After they use him to eliminate me." Dominic's jaw clenched. He thinks he's partnering with them, but he's just another tool. Expendable. Do you care?
She had to ask.
Dominic was silent for a long moment. He betrayed me, tried to have me killed. But he ran a hand through his hair. We grew up together. His father died for mine. He was my brother in every way that mattered. So, what do we do? Before Dominic could answer, Santos's phone rang. An unknown number. Dominic answered, putting it on speaker. Who is this? A woman's voice came through, smooth and coldly amused. Hello, Dominic. I've been looking forward to this conversation. Who are you? Someone you've never met but have wronged deeply. A pause. My name is Elena Moreno. Does that ring any bells? Dominic's face went white. Moreno. Carlos Moreno's widow. Yes, her voice turned to ice. You killed my husband 8 years ago during your little territory dispute. Shot him 3 times in a warehouse on the east side. Do you remember? Ariana watched Dominic's hands tremble. She'd never seen him afraid before. It was war, he said quietly. He was trying to kill me. He was defending what was his. And you took him from me, from our daughter. Elena's composure cracked slightly. I've spent 8 years building power, making alliances, waiting for the perfect moment to destroy everything you love. The Serpiente? They're mine. I rebuilt my husband's organization from ashes, made it stronger, more ruthless. Then why hide behind proxies? Why not face me yourself? Because watching you scramble is so much more satisfying, she laughed. Vince was easy to turn. All that resentment made him vulnerable. And your ex-wife? Even easier. Threaten her brother, and she'll do anything. Ariana felt sick. But here's the beautiful irony, Elena continued. Vince doesn't know I plan to kill him. Your ex-wife doesn't know her brother is already dead. We killed him 2 hours ago. And you don't know that while you've been running around playing detective, I've been moving the last pieces into place. Tommy's dead. Ariana's voice broke. I'm afraid so. Necessary casualty. We needed you motivated enough to betray Volkov, but loose ends are so messy. Ariana's legs gave out. She sank to the ground, a keening sound escaping her throat. Dominic caught her, holding her as sobs racked her body. You monster, Dominic snarled into the phone. I'm what you made me, Elena shot back. A widow. A single mother. A woman who learned that in this world, mercy is weakness. You taught me that, Dominic, when you put 3 bullets in my husband. Where are you? Pier 17. Waiting. And here's your choice. Come face me, knowing it's a trap, or run, and I'll hunt down everyone you've ever cared about. Your remaining crew. Your assets. That little sister of yours in witness protection. Yes, I know about her too. Dominic's entire body went rigid. You touch her. Then come.
Alone.
2 hours. Or everyone dies, she paused. And Dominic? Bring the girl. I want her to watch you die, just like I watched my husband bleed out. The line went dead. Ariana pulled away from Dominic, tears streaming down her face. Tommy's gone. He's gone because of me. No, Dominic gripped her shoulders. Because of me. Because of who I am, what I've done. Elena's right. I created this. So what now? His eyes hardened with resolve. Now we end it. Dominic released Santos, who scrambled away the moment his zip ties were cut. Run, Dominic told him. And if you're smart, you'll leave the city tonight. Santos didn't need to be told twice. He vanished down the parking garage stairs. Ariana stood at the edge of the level, staring at the city's skyline. Her face was hollow, emptied of everything but grief. I'm sorry, Dominic said quietly, coming to stand beside her. About Tommy. He was stupid, reckless. Always getting into trouble, her voice was mechanical. But he was my little brother. And I got him killed. Elena got him killed.
Not you.
I was supposed to protect him. She turned to face Dominic, her eyes red-rimmed. That's what big sisters do. But I failed. Just like I failed at everything else. Our marriage, staying away from your world, keeping the people I love safe. Ariana. I should have let you surrender at the restaurant. When Vince made the offer. Maybe Tommy would still be alive. Tommy was already dead then. Elena just didn't tell us Dominic took her hands. She's been playing us from the beginning. Every move calculated to cause maximum pain. Then let's give her what she wants. Ariana's voice turned cold, empty. You go to the pier. I'll go with you. We walk into her trap and end this. That's suicide. I don't care anymore. Dominic pulled her against him, holding tight. Yes, you do. You're hurt and angry and grieving. But you're not a killer, Ariana. You're not built for this. Maybe I should be, she pulled back, her eyes blazing now. Maybe if I was more like you, more ruthless, Tommy would be alive. Or you'd be dead too. This world, my world, it destroys everything good. That's why I pushed you away 3 years ago. And look where that got us. The words hung between them. Bitter truth neither could deny. Dominic's burner phone rang. He answered.
Lao.
Boss, we've got a situation. Leo's voice was tense. Vince just showed up at the safe house with a white flag.
Says he needs to talk to you.
Alone. It's a trap. That's what I figured. But boss, Leo hesitated. He looks scared. Like, genuinely terrified. Says the Serpiente are going to kill him, that Elena Moreno double-crossed him. Dominic exchanged a look with Ariana. Put him on. Shuffling sounds, then Vince's voice.
Dom.
Jesus Christ, Dom, I screwed up. I screwed up so bad. You tried to have me killed. I know, and I'm sorry, but listen, Elena played me. She promised me partnership, territory, power. But I just found out she's planning to execute me tonight after she takes you down. I'm a dead man either way, but at least with you there's a chance. A chance for what? Survival. Revenge. I don't know. Vince's voice cracked. I betrayed my brother, and now I'm going to die for it. But if there's any way to make this right, to stop her before she kills both of us. Dominic closed his eyes. Every instinct screamed that this was another manipulation. But he heard genuine fear in Vince's voice. Terror of a man who'd realized he'd made a deal with the devil. Where's Elena right now? Pier 17. She's got 40 men there, maybe more. Snipers, heavy weapons. It's a fortress. But I know the layout, security positions, blind spots. I can get you in. Why would you do that? Because I'm dead anyway.
Vince shouted.
At least this way I die fighting instead of on my knees. And maybe I can do one last thing that doesn't make me a complete piece of shit. Ariana touched Dominic's arm. It could be the break we need. Or the final trap. Does it matter? Her eyes were hard now, grief transformed into cold determination. Elena killed my brother. She wants us dead. So we either die running or die fighting. I choose fighting. Dominic studied her face. The woman he'd married had been gentle, idealistic. The woman before him now was forged in fire and loss. Harder. Sharper. He'd done this to her. His world had done this. Vince, Dominic said into the phone. You get one chance. You betray me again, and I'll make sure your death is slow. Understood. Meet me at the old shipping container yard in 30 minutes.
Come alone.
Any tricks, and the deal's off. He hung up. Ariana was already checking weapons, her movements efficient. What's the plan? We meet Vince. Get the intel on Pier 17. Then we call Katrina and Leo, pull together everyone we can trust. That's not much. No, he loaded his gun, the click of the magazine echoing in the empty garage. But Elena made one critical mistake. What's that? She thinks grief makes us weak. His eyes met hers, burning with cold fury.
She's wrong.
It makes us dangerous. The shipping container yard was a maze of rusted metal under the fading afternoon sun. Dominic and Ariana arrived first, weapons ready. Every sense on high alert. Vince appeared from behind a container, hands raised. He looked worse than Dominic had ever seen him, bruised, disheveled, eyes hollow with the knowledge of his own mortality. No weapons, Vince said, opening his jacket to show he was unarmed. Smart, Dominic kept his gun trained on him anyway.
Talk. Fast.
Vince pulled out a folded map, spreading it on the hood of a rusted truck. Pier 17. Elena's using the old cannery as her base. Main entrance here, 10 guards. Side entrance here, another 6. Snipers on these 3 rooftops. He marked positions with a pen. What about inside? Ariana asked. Second floor, foreman's office. That's where she'll be. 20 more men scattered throughout the building. Vince looked up, his eyes finding Dominic's. But there's a way. The old drainage tunnel that runs under the pier, it's still accessible from the storm drain 2 blocks east. Comes up in the basement. That's your way in. And the way out. There isn't one. Vince's laugh was bitter. This is a suicide mission, Dom. Best case scenario, we take Elena down with us.
We.
Dominic's eyebrow raised. I'm coming with you. I owe you that much, Vince's voice cracked. I know I can't fix what I did, but maybe I can die like I lived, fighting beside my brother. Dominic wanted to say no. Wanted to put a bullet in Vince for every betrayal, but they needed every gun they could get. One wrong move. I know. You'll kill me yourself, Vince managed a ghost of his old smile. I wouldn't have it any other way. 2 hours later, as twilight painted the sky purple and gold, they stood at the storm drain entrance. Dominic, Ariana, Vince, Leo, and 8 of Dominic's most loyal men. Katrina had sent 4 more as backup, positioned on the perimeter. Remember, Dominic said, checking his weapons one last time. We get in, we get to Elena, we end this. No merci, no hesitation. Ariana stood beside him in tactical gear Leo had provided. She looked like a different person, a warrior carved from grief and determination. For Tommy, she said quietly. For everyone she's taken from us, Dominic agreed. They descended into the tunnel. The drainage pipe was narrow, forcing them to move single file through ankle-deep water. The smell of rust and decay filled the air. After 10 minutes of crawling through darkness, they reached the basement access. Vince picked the lock. The door swung open silently. Inside, the cannery was a maze of old machinery and conveyor belts. Dominic's team spread out, moving through shadows. They took down 3 guards silently before the alarm sounded. Then all hell broke loose. Gunfire erupted from every direction. Dominic's men returned fire, using old equipment as cover. The air filled with smoke and the deafening percussion of automatic weapons. Second floor. Dominic shouted to Ariana. Stay close. They fought their way up the stairs, Vince covering their 6. 2 of Dominic's men fell, bullets finding gaps in their armor. But they pushed forward, leaving bodies in their wake. The foreman's office sat at the end of a long hallway. Its door stood open, light spilling out like an invitation. Elena Moreno waited inside. She was younger than Ariana expected, mid-30s, elegant in a tailored suit, with cold eyes that held years of calculated hatred. 2 bodyguards flanked her. Dominic, she said, almost warmly. And you brought your broken doll. How touching. It's over, Elena, Dominic said, his gun trained on her. Your men are scattered. The feds are probably already on their way. You think I care? She laughed. I already won. I destroyed your empire, turned your best friend against you, and made you watch your world burn. Killing me changes nothing. It changes everything, Ariana said, raising her own weapon. You murdered my brother. You used me as a pawn. You're not walking away from this. Elena's smile faded. Pull that trigger, little girl, and you become just like us. A killer. Can you live with that? Ariana's hand trembled. Images flashed through her mind. Tommy as a child, laughing. Her wedding day with Dominic. The woman she'd been before all this. Elena saw the hesitation. Her hand moved toward a hidden gun. Vince shot first. The bullet took Elena in the shoulder, spinning her back. Her bodyguards moved, but Dominic was faster. 2 shots, 2 bodies dropping. Elena collapsed against her desk, blood spreading across her white suit. You were supposed to be dead, Vince. Turns out loyalty matters more than revenge, Vince said quietly. Took me too long to remember that. Sirens wailed in the distance. Dominic's phone buzzed. Katrina, confirming the feds were en route with evidence of Elena's operations. We need to go, Leo called from the hallway.
Now.
Dominic grabbed Ariana's hand. Together with Vince, they ran. 3 weeks later, Ariana stood on a beach she didn't recognize, in a country whose name she wasn't supposed to know. The sunset painted the ocean in shades of fire. Dominic emerged from the small villa behind her, carrying 2 glasses of wine. New identity came through, he said, handing her one. Ariana Volkov is officially dead. Congratulations, Sophia Bennett. She took the glass but didn't drink.
Vince?
In witness protection. His testimony against the Serpiente's remaining leadership bought him a new life. He says hello. And your empire?
Gone.
Dismantled. The feds seized everything, just like we planned. He stared at the ocean. Turns out, losing everything can be freedom. Ariana leaned against him. What happens now? We rebuild. Not an empire this time.
Just.
A life. Together, if you'll have me. She turned to face him, seeing the man beneath the monster. Still dangerous. Still scarred. But also capable of change, of sacrifice, of love. I'm not the same woman you married, she warned. Good. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. Neither am I the same man. She kissed him then, tasting salt air and possibility. The past was ashes, but from ashes, something new could grow. Behind them, the villa door opened. A figure stepped out. Ariana's heart stopped. Tommy? Her brother grinned, alive and whole.
Surprise.
Turns out the body Elena showed you was a fake. Dominic found me 3 days ago in a Serpiente safe house. They were saving me as leverage. Ariana's wine glass fell, forgotten. She ran to him, laughing and crying at once. Dominic watched them embrace, something warm unfurling in his chest. He'd spent years building an empire on blood and fear. But this, family, second chances, love that survived the fire, this was the only empire that mattered. The sun set on who they'd been. Tomorrow, they'd discover who they could become. Together.